Yeah, time to trickle in here. Xander, good. You were there for the discussion last night, right? Yo, was good. Good morning, folks. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever you're at in the world. Snapzilla Gorilla here. Welcome to Tyrant's Bane definition of anarchy. Yes. So, yep, I changed my name to Tyrant's Bane, or I changed the name of the channel to Tyrant's Bane TDOA. You know, just to put a little bit more emphasis on what I'm about. You know, yeah. So that's why you see the change, because you know I have to make it clear that I am the tyrant's bane. You understand? I am a resistor. I am someone who doesn't lay down easily. Like I don't submit very easily, if at all. Good afternoon. The discussion I had with Irene Yvette on her stream last night, I shared it in the community tab. I don't know if she kept the live stream up. I know she wanted to, I don't know, I think she wanted to put it on Patreon or something. I don't know. But I'm going to go over briefly what we discussed and how it turned out. Okay. So basically, we had a discussion about whether or not anarchy is possible or realistic. You know, this was a question of hers to me because she knows my position. And so she wanted to really dig in and see what was possible, you know, see what it meant to me, see what it really means. How can we achieve this? Even though I couldn't really get into how we could achieve it. You know, I did break down what anarchy actually means. And, you know, it was her position that anarchy isn't possible because in society in a world with 5 billion human beings, you know, there will always be some order that will try to be achieved. People will try to achieve order in some form of fashion, some type of structure. There will always be some authority or somebody who tries to assert their authority over other people. And, you know, that was her position. Like, okay, there's too many people in the world. There's too many people that are trying to vie for supreme authority over other people. There's always somebody trying to conquer somebody and all that type of stuff. And, you know, that was her position on why anarchy is impossible. She also said that how do you deal with people that go around, like if there's complete anarchy, you know, there's going to be people that are going to want to go around and hurt people and get away with it. Like, how do you deal with that? You know, and, you know, this really comes from a lack of understanding what anarchy is, right? Anarchy does not mean no structure, no order, you know, no civilization, no customs, it doesn't even mean no rules. It means no rulers, right? It means no authoritarians, no authority, right? And that's the key. That's the key. That's where you draw the line, right? You can live in a civilized society where there is structure and where everybody has an understanding of what the rules are, right? And what system and customs and structure they live under. They have that understanding and they willingly participate in this society based on this knowledge, right? So if somebody cuts up and starts harming other people, you deal with it accordingly. See, people think that anarchy, well, you can't punish people who do harm to others. No, that's not how it works. No, it's not how it works. If we live in a community where we all willingly participate in different facets of this community, like some people might want to do their part in the community that someone else doesn't want to do, but that other person is going to find their niche. They're going to find out how they can contribute to the community, right? But if it's understood that in order to live in this community, you have to contribute something, then you have a choice on whether or not you participate in that society or in that community. If you don't want to participate as they deem fit, then you don't have to. You can go on somewhere else. You can do your own thing. And that's the difference, right? And it's her, and that's really where you get into volunteerism, right? That's really more so volunteerism. That's where you actually choose whether or not you want to opt into the society as it is, right? And it's her assertion, or it was her assertion, that that's what America is. That's the system we live in now, where it's an opt-in society, but it's not. Okay. And she made that point when she said, when you're born, your parents get you a social security card and a birth certificate against your will and without your consent. She acknowledged that, but she thinks because the parents opted the kids in, then it's voluntary. No, it's not. That child did not have a choice. You chose for that child as the parent, right? And essentially, because the way the system is set up, the parents, they really don't have a choice. They have to opt their child in, because if they don't, then their child cannot survive once they become adults. Like there's certain things that you have to do in order, you have to have those things in order to survive in this society, unless you're set up. If you're not set up to where your children don't need birth certificates and social security cards, then there's really no point in not doing it. It's just like, it's basically, it's a paper tiger, right? Like, oh, I didn't give my child a birth certificate and a social security card, but you live in the middle of a city, right? See, look, this is the point. If you don't get your child a birth certificate and a social security card within this society, right, then you're basically saying that those children don't exist, right? They don't exist. So if the powers that be or the government decide that they want to come and take your children, you're not going to have any record that child existed in the first place. And when you say, oh, they took my child, or let's say somebody kidnaps your child, right? Somebody kidnaps your child, or, you know, your child dies, you can't get them life insurance, right? You can't, you know what I'm saying? Because they don't exist. There's no record of them. So you're really putting your child in a certain level of risk within the society as it is right now if you don't get them a social security card and a birth certificate. And I know that for a fact, right? Because I have a friend who decided not to get his children, like, right, he had 2 children that had birth certificates and social security cards, right? But the other, but the 2 after that, he didn't have social security cards, birth certificates for them. And he was like, well, yeah, they ain't gonna be part of the system. They're not gonna be a product, or, you know what I'm saying? You know how it is when you get the social security card and birth certificate. Your child is now a commodity of the United States government. That's reality, right? That's true. But once he was ready to do certain things with his children as they became a certain age, right? Like putting them in school, getting them health benefits, doing this, that, and the third. There are certain things like traveling with them, taking them on a flight. Guess what? He had to go and get paperwork on his children. And now they're in the system anyway. Now they have numbers attached to them. You understand what I'm saying? So unless you're set up to where your child absolutely does not need to participate in society in any form or fashion, then not getting birth certificates and social security cards is just an empty gesture. If you're not self-sustainable, if you're not homeschooling your children, if you don't have some type of medical system set up for them where if they get hurt, they can get treatment. If you don't have all these things set up, if you're not within a community where you don't need this facet of society for your child to thrive, then not getting a social security card and a birth certificate, you're really putting your child in some form of danger. So in essence, the way they have society set up right now, it's not opt-in. Even if you decide not to get your children birth certificates and social security cards, like I said, man, it just don't work like that. So this is not an opt-in society. The society we live in right now, you cannot opt out. You can't. Even if you can opt out if you want to be a bum on the streets, or if you want to be harassed by the police for trying to build a house without a permit. Look, there's certain things you cannot do. And that's the problem. I can't go and buy some land somewhere and start building a house and living off the land, because guess what? I have to, if the government discovers that I'm doing this, they can come onto that land and say, what the hell are you doing here? You don't have a permit. You don't have this. You don't have that. You got to do this. You got to do that, because they control everything in the country. So there's nowhere you can go where there isn't government influence over you. And that is not opt-in. You can't opt out. You can become a sovereign citizen. I know there's a couple of people that hit me up saying, oh, you can do this, go through these changes to become a sovereign citizen. But even then, it's just, it's nothing more than a declaration. Like it doesn't mean that you're really sovereign, because you might be able to confuse some police officers, right? You might be able to confuse some cops, showing them that you're a sovereign citizen, showing them you have private plates, this, that, and the third. But guess what? If you're driving through their city that they patrol, they can still hem you up, right? They can still hem you up. They can still take you to jail. You know what I'm saying? They can still give you a hard time. They can harass you. At the end of the day, you're still a subject of the controllers of the United States. There is no opt-out right now as it is. You know what I'm saying? Now, there are some exceptions. There is some exceptions. But, like, for instance, when I was younger, I was in my 20s. When I started my journey, I started this journey toward looking for freedom, right? I started this freedom journey, right? Back in 2004, 2005. And in 2005, me and some people, we went to this sovereign land, right? Owned by indigenous folks, some indigenous people, called Red Wind, right? That's the name. That was the name of their land. It's called Red Wind. It is literally sovereign land. Like within its borders, or within its within their property, there is no government control over what they do whatsoever, right? But guess what? They're surrounded by land that is controlled by the government. But anyway, so you go into this sovereign land, you no longer are operating under the rules of the United States of America, technically, right? The United States laws do not function in there. They follow a whole separate set of rules, and there's no laws there, right? The people that own the property, we came in there, and all they asked was that you carry your own weight, right? If you're going to be here and you're going to benefit from what we got going, then there's certain things you can chop some wood for the fire. You can help irrigate the crops. There's certain things that you can do to help the community function, because you're there and, you decided to go in there. But it's not like, you're not going to go to jail if you decide that you want to go smoke some weed, or if you want to do whatever you want to do, you can do it right there in that community. And that was a beautiful thing to me, right? And yes, you had to participate in order to benefit from what they were providing. But to me, that's how things work. That's how things work. If you want certain things from a community, then they're going to require certain things of you in order to receive what they have to offer. To me, that's just fair trade. Fair trade ain't no robbery, right? Whereas in the United States, I work for the guy that hired me, right? Me and him have an understanding. I work, you give me money, right? I work, you give me a certain amount of money, I take it home. But the problem is the government takes their share off the top, or what they consider is their share off the top of your paycheck, right? You can't say, you know what, I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay that. I don't believe in whatever you're putting this money towards, right? Like there's certain budgets, right? They do a budget every year. They decide what money goes where, how many billions of dollars goes to Israel, how many billions of dollars goes to Iraq. Like, I don't want to put my money toward that. But guess what? You don't have a choice. And that's the big problem. You don't have a choice. Like I was telling her, my kids don't go to school. They're homeschooled, right? But if I work, I have to, if I work, I'm forced to, they take money out of my paycheck, right? And put it towards a school that my children don't even go to. Where if it was really as it should be, I should be able to say, no, I don't want my money to go there. Give me my money. I want 100% of my money, and I decide what to put my money toward. What makes sense to me and the people in my community most read it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the point. That's a true opt-in or opt-out society where you don't have to participate where you don't feel like it. You know what I'm saying? And that's a true opt-in society. That's a true opt-in, opt-out society. And that's where she had the confusion, right? And it really, I just couldn't understand, like, how can you say it's opt-in when your parents decide for you that you're going to participate? As you're barely a newborn. You don't have the capacity to make your own decisions. So, and then I explained, I was like, look, your parents made that decision for you. You didn't. It's like saying, how they say my body, my choice, right? When it comes to abortion, the women or the people that are pro-abortion, or the women that are pro-abortion, they'll say it's my body, my choice. But it's not. It's not your body, your choice, because it's not your body that you're killing in your womb. It's your child's body. You see what I'm saying? This society, the way this is set up, there's such a emphasis on ownership, right? Of people. There's such a sense of ownership over people that parents or women think that they own the child that's within them, and then that they can make a decision on whether they live or not and say, oh, it's my body. It's not your body, right? It's not your body. It's the child's body. You're just deciding for that child that you're going to kill that child. So that's the same type of argument, saying that, no, your children didn't have an option. Just like my children didn't have an option. I acknowledge that. But, I got them birth certificates and I got them Social Security cards. You know why? Because I'm not set up to where I don't need them. I don't have the capacity, right? I'm not, I live in the middle of a city. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a doctor. If something happens to my child, I can't operate on my child. I can't, you know what I'm saying? I have a basic understanding and knowledge of first aid in the field. Like, there's certain things I can do, you know what I'm saying? I can suture a wound. There's certain things I can do, but serious things, like, what if my child has asthma, or what if they have a cancer or something like that? It's going to be a lot more difficult for me to get my children treated for that if if they don't have paperwork. That's just the reality. And I understand that. Even as an anarchist, as it is right now, I'm not so stupid as to think that, okay, I'm an anarchist, so my children, we're just going to be, they're not going to be in the system and they're going to be all right. No, at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for your children. And what's best for my children right now is for them to be on paperwork, point blank and period. Because I don't have the capacity. I'm not set up for it to work otherwise. Some people might be. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's important to form and network. It's important to network and form communities of people that are diverse. Diverse in knowledge, diverse in experience, diverse in culture. Guess why? Because if the shit hit the fan, it's not gonna matter if your child is on paperwork or not. If shit breaks down, society breaks down to the point where, we can't even, the hospitals are just like, you can't go to the hospital, you can't find a doctor, you asked out. So it's important to get to know people and then form relationships with people that are doctors, that are nurses, that are electricians, that are carpenters, that are mathematicians, that that have that are plumbers, people that have a certain knowledge of shit, soldiers, veterans, weapons experts, and also it's important for you to form some type of skill and have some type of skill that you can contribute to society, that people, so they can see, okay, this guy has a certain knowledge in this field. You know what I'm saying? He's very valuable. Unless you're set up like that, where you have immediate access to these type of people, then you're not ready to not have your children on paperwork. If you living in a high-rise apartment in the downtown of whatever city you in, and your children go to, and you don't have shit set up to where your children don't have to go to school, they don't need it, they don't need to go to hospitals, they don't need life insurance or this, that, and the third, you're not ready. You're not ready for that. So, and that was case in point with my friend. But anyway, and it just doesn't work like that. So this is not opt-in, and that's the major point. That's the major point right now. People think, oh well, this is the land of the free, the home of the brave. But there are extreme limitations on that so-called freedom, right? There are extreme limitations on that so-called freedom, and if there's such extreme exceptions and restrictions on your freedom, then is that really freedom? No, it's not. Right? It's just not. And this was the point I was trying to make And at the end of the day, what's funny is, end of the day, what she considered to be an ideal system, what she described as an ideal system to live under, was volunteerism at the end of the day. So it's very possible to live in anarchy. As a matter of fact, you're living in anarchy right now, right? No one told you that you had to come watch my video. You made the decision to come watch my video. You made the decision to get up and brush your teeth this morning. You don't have to, there's no law against brushing your teeth. There's no one breaking down your door, saying, hey, you better brush your teeth. There's none of that. You live in anarchy every day. But it's micro, right? What we need to do is achieve that on a larger scale. Anarchy on a larger scale, or volunteerism on a larger scale. Because for people to say that anarchy doesn't work, right? Then you have to, people say anarchy doesn't work because there's always going to be somebody that's going to try to, gain power or have authority over you, this, that, and the third. Guess what? The way this system works now doesn't work. The way the system is right now, it doesn't work. Why? Because you create a nation of laws, right? 90% of laws are arbitrary and don't make no damn sense. So you could create a nation of laws that, and you have three branches of government. You have checks and balances. You have all this shit. You have a constitution, right? Now, peep game. You have a constitution. You have, and I'm gonna tell you, this is really gonna be deep. You have a constitution. You have a system of laws. You have three branches of government. You have all this structure, right? But somehow, people still break laws. They still disregard the Constitution, right? They don't give a hot damn about the three branches of government and the balance, checks and balances. Things still happen. People still murder people. People still do drugs. People, you know what I'm saying? People still try to, this system is constantly fighting against something that you can't beat, right? And that's the human spirit, right? That's the human spirit. That's the human nature. You try to fight human nature. When you try to build so much structure and have this person has supreme authority, or these group of people have supreme authority over everyone else, it doesn't work. Why? Because, there's always resistance. People are always going to resist. Even insofar as so many people are obeying these laws, right? They're not really. They're just not getting caught. That's the thing. A lot of people break laws every day. I say about 80-90% of people break laws every single day. They do, right? So does that mean that the system of laws is working? Does that mean that does that mean that it's working? No. What's working? Let me tell you what's working, right? What's working is the fear campaign that they use to control people, right? The fear campaign that they use to control people. And that's working, right? So the way that this system is structured, they just found a way to put that Hegelian dialectic to work for them. That's it. That's it. And let me tell you, anarchy is alive and well right now. It's working right now within our system. I'm going to tell you where. Politicians are anarchists. Yep. Politicians are anarchists who are dictators at the same time, right? Their dictates don't apply to them, right? They live as they choose. They can do whatever the hell they want because they're politicians, right? But They create laws and edicts for you to follow. They dictate over you what you can and can't do to a certain degree. But they live as they see fit. They live as they see fit, right? You know, just like, do you believe that when they create all these laws, right? The Green New Deal, where people can't fly here, they can't drive that car, they can't do this. And do you think they're going to stop flying privately in their jets? No. Do you think that do you think that when they did the lockdowns, when the Modelo virus started, do you think that they were social distancing? Do you think they were staying at home locked down? No. They go to their golf courses. They'll do this, they'll do that. They'll fly about the country in their private jets. They do anything they want to do. And I'm just talking about the politicians. What about the banksters? What about the super elite controllers? Do you think that they're following the system of laws that they push on us? Hell no. They're living as they see fit. Right? They're living as anarchists. Now, they're anarchists who are at the tyrants at the same time, but those aren't mutually exclusive, right? Because it's do as I say, not as I do. They live in their freedom, right? But we don't get to live in the freedom they live in because we're not in control. So anarchy does work. They do whatever the hell they want, especially at the very tippy top. And it's not just in America. It's dictators all over the world, kings and queens. They do whatever the hell they want. They don't have to follow the laws and rules that they lay down on their people. The proletariat class are the ones being ruled by anarchists. It's just the anarchists in the elite class that are ruling over us, they don't want to share the anarchy. Because they have this thirst for power and control that is unquenchable. You understand what I'm saying? You have anarchists at the very top that don't want you to live freely. That doesn't mean that anarchy can't work. That just means that we have to use the tools right now that we have to make sure that we make the change toward that direction, right? We have to move toward that direction, and we have to use the tools that we have now that they didn't have back in the day. They didn't have 200, 300 years ago. We have the internet. We can push information out so fast and so far that people can coordinate all over the world in sync, right? They can synchronize and operate and function in a certain way. They can flow together. They can move at the same time. You know what I'm saying? We have the tools right now. Can you imagine? Because she was talking about how the native tribes, they were living in isolation. They were doing as they wanted until the conquerors came, right? And she said anarchy. It was because they lived in whatever. She said anarchy. They were living in anarchy or whatever, and they were isolated. They were living by their own system and their own set of rules and this, that, and the third until the conquerors came. And it wasn't because anarchy didn't work that they were conquered. It was because they were outgunned. They were, you know what I'm saying? They were out-equipped. They were outsmarted. It had nothing to do with whether or not they were living in anarchy. It was because one group wanted to conquer them, and they had the means, and they had the ruthlessness, and they had the tools to do it, and the other group didn't. That's it. So anytime you saw people being conquered, it wasn't because, anarchy doesn't work. It just was because they were not equipped to defend themselves. But it's not like that today, right? Can you imagine if the indigenous tribes of the United States of America had the internet and were able to get a look at leaked emails and this, that, and the third that said, oh, look, Columbus and them are going to try to come over here and slaughter a bunch of us and take over our lands. So we need to coordinate and cooperate and come together and fight these people off. If they had that knowledge, if they had that information, it probably would have been a whole different world today. But guess what? They didn't have that. You understand? And some conquerors would go to different nations, go to different worlds and different lands, and they'll come there and act like they were in peace, and the whole time they're plotting and planning on how to best catch them with their guard down. Like, it's not possible today. You understand? So it's different now. We're better equipped. Information is power, right? Anyway, I got to get off this, guys. I'm getting ready to get my car serviced. I'll holler at y'all later.